Thanks for joining us. Is it fair to say that so far, when it comes to Biden's foreign policy, the issue that really stands out is Afghanistan and what can only be described as the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan? It's a huge dent in his armor for the president, not just, from a global perspective, but very much to a domestic audience that was very much in favor of leaving Afghanistan, but not particularly the way it was carried out.
As you say, but the American public rarely pay a lot of attention to the details of foreign policy. And yet all the television coverage of what happened in Afghanistan, the violence, the deaths in the last few days, Republican Party members certainly raising questions as to whether the Democratic Party president handled everything wrong, that damaged Joe Biden. But the hope in the Biden White House is that a lot of that will be forgotten, because even overseas, right, as you've been reporting in this broadcast, right now, the emergency is how to handle Russia. At the same time, there are Iran nuclear talks. And of course, China is a major issue. So Biden, who's very experienced at foreign policy, sounds confident that he can handle all these crises. But it is a lot, Yashini.
It certainly is a lot. And you talk about him sounding confident. And yet yesterday he made those remarks about an incursion into Ukraine, then having to come and backtrack, his staff having to clarify those comments. So what do you make of his handling of this so far? And is it actually being viewed by a domestic audience in the U.S. as something they're actually keeping a close eye on?
Well, most Americans don't know what's the best way to handle Russia or the Ukraine issue, but you're right. Americans do notice when the White House has to put out a clarification of what the president said at his news conference on Wednesday. And so the word goes around that the president's either confused or he can't make himself too clear. Then, of course, some say he's too old to be an effective president. Yet in that news conference that you're seeing right now, he also said that he's going to run for president in the year 2024, even though he'll be almost 82 years old. That's what I mean by him sounding confident. But another number, the public opinion polls, only 40% of Americans say they think he's doing a good job. That's not quite as low as Donald Trump in his first year, but it's nearly as low, Yashini.
So, Dan, what can we expect then over the next year when it comes to Washington's foreign policy? When Biden came into power, a lot of the world, a lot of the U.S. allies breathed a bit of a sigh of relief. How do you think they're feeling now?
Well, they were relieved because a man with a lot of experience in foreign policy now became president. He was the head of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, whereas Donald Trump knew really nothing about foreign policy. He just went on by his gut instinct. So the Biden administration intends to keep working with allies to cooperate with the NATO alliance more than ever. In Asia, confronting China, well, the U.S. says it will work with Japan and South Korea and other allies like Australia. All of that could be a change from the Trump era. But with all these big challenges, then, of course, you add the COVID-19 pandemic, which still lingers and seems to be growing again. It is a tough time for President Biden at the one-year mark.
Tough time indeed. Dan, Raviv, thanks so much for that analysis live to us there from Washington, D.C.